Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen. With me today is the woman who knows how to set personal boundaries, Alex Standy. This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. Indeed we are, because it's Thursday, and Thursdays are always our happy day around here. They're especially happy when we get both Dan and Alex. We don't have Dan today, but we do have Alex, so we're going to have at least half the happiness, and half the happiness is better than what most people have, right, Alex? I mean,
very true.
If you start with half, you're halfway there, right?
Exactly.
How have you been? We haven't talked in a while. How's it going with you?
Everything's great. I just got a new job.
You did?
So
Congratulations.
I did. My first job in 15 years.
Yeah. You've been doing all kinds of stuff during that time. What are you doing now?
Yeah. I'm going to be a crisis hotline associate.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I can't say I'm surprised, considering all that we've talked about on the show. It definitely fits.
But it's like, it's weird because it's like 15 years ago, I was on the other side of the phone. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Well, isn't that the way it usually works, though? I mean,
full circle.
The best therapists, the best coaches are the ones who've been there.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
They can identify with what it is that the client is going through.
Right.
And it especially works really well when you run into the client that doesn't believe that you'd have any idea what they're talking about, and then you tell them the same story that you went through, and like, oh my God, you really do understand what this is about.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, been there, bro. I feel you.
Absolutely. Good for you. That's great. I can see you doing well, especially we know how humorous you are too. I can see you bringing your humor to the game plan there. And,
right.
Somebody who's in a crisis situation and they can't see any way out, and all the walls are closing in. I can just see you breaking through with just the right joke at the right time. Just
all I can give is a giggle. I'll take it.
Yeah, I can see that. That would work really well. Well, congratulations, girl. You deserve it. That's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we also have our guest joining us today. Her name is Mindy Leishman. She has so many on the show who have been on in the past as a coach. She has a really cool program. She calls it the DreamBuilder program. I like the name because we talk about that a lot, don't we? We talk about the importance of starting with knowing what your dream is, because so many people really don't know what their dream is. And then once you've identified what your dream is, how do you get there? How do you attract that dream into your life? That's like the foundation for so much of what we've talked about. So I don't know about you, Alex. I'm going to be interested to find out what Mindy has to say. Let's find out.
Oh, I'm excited.
Okay. So Mindy, thank you. Welcome for joining us on the program today. Thank you very much. And how you doing? From Costa Rica. She's contacting us from Costa Rica today.
And as you were talking about manifesting your dream, how do you manifest your dream, or how do you even know what your dream was? That's what I help people create, but I created it for myself. So if you were talking with Alex earlier, somebody who's been there and done it, right? So I've been there and I've done it. And that's what I do. I literally, over a 12-week period, help people see things that they couldn't see before. So I compare it to, I also have a house in Florida. It's in a historic area where the horses it's St. Augustine, Florida, nation's oldest city, supposedly. And, so the horses, they wear these blinders, right?
Oh, yes.
And they wear the blinders so that nothing scares them and they don't get spooked. So that's what I do. I help people take the blinders off so that they could see everything that they couldn't see, that the universe is always offering, right?
Yeah.
It's true. It's such an abundant universe, and every one of us was put here to experience and have abundance. Now, there's times in our lives where we don't feel like it because we have our blinders on.
We're good at them. We'll volunteer to put them on.
Yes. We'll drive ourselves to the store, go buy a new one.
That's right.
But most of us walk through life and we don't know we have them on, right?
Right.
It's true. Yeah, we were talking too before we got started here. You made mention to something I didn't really follow up on, but I'm going to touch on it now. You said you manifested your house in Costa Rica.
Yes.
So, I mean, talk about having been there, done that. You weren't kidding. You really did go there and do that.
I did. I came on a vacation. So my dream, I've always manifested, but I was always a slow manifester, right? And so in 2013, when Eat, Pray, Love came out, I wanted to live that life. I have twins. They were still, they were in middle school at the time. And I was working as a realtor full time. So I was busy mom, taking the the middle schoolers to dance class and what have you. And I just really couldn't see it because there again, blinders were on, and college degree, I couldn't use it. I mean, I'd been using my real estate degree at that point for about 15 or more years. And I'm like, well, nobody's going to hire me at this point, right? So, so I couldn't really see how could I create that life. Well, fast forward to actually February of this year. Well, actually January, I had finally created where I could travel and live the life that I wanted. And my goal was to live in different countries for 3 months at a time. I had tried it out off and on, but I was really good at the play, you know, the playing part, you know, like I could play all day long, but the actually working part of the digital nomad, couldn't get that down. So I usually lost money when I travel. And, so in January, I actually came for 3 months. And I don't know, something happened. The magic of Costa Rica, when the plane landed, I was just like, wow, this place is really amazing, right? It's beautiful. And we fell into the local expat community very quickly, fit in really well, met some of the locals. We fit in with the locals, and I don't even speak Spanish. I'm learning. But, you know, but we have so many friends, and all of a sudden this house, like it was, the people were telling us, oh, you have to go look at their house. Oh, no, we didn't come to buy a house. No. Right?
Well, sometimes the universe has to knock a few times before you'll answer the door.
Yeah, right. But the person was very persistent. And finally, it's like, okay, we'll go look at the house, right? Came to look at the house. It was absolutely my dream come true. Beautiful lake straight down, or beautiful view straight down the lake at the volcano Arenal, which is about 25 miles down the lake. So I've got these amazing views. I've got the rainforest on one side. I'm an introvert, so I'm surrounded by toucans and monkeys and cows.
Oh, man.
So I know it's not everybody's cup of tea.
That's my cup of tea. I would love to live near monkeys.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes. So yeah, that's how I manifested this house. I came on a vacation.
I love that. I love that you manifested it in a way where you weren't specifically saying, I need to manifest a house in Costa Rica.
Right.
You instead you were open to what the universe was presenting to you.
Yes. Yeah. This or something better. It's always this or something better, right? So I wanted to travel, and I was going to go to Europe after this, but you know, I avoided a heat wave. I got to hang out in Costa Rica. So,
yeah,
that's true.
Absolutely.
With a consistent 75-degree temperature. So I'm like,
oh man.
If I'm correct, I think I'm correct about this. There's a sizable U.S. expat community in Costa Rica. I mean, we're not talking just a few people. There are a lot of Americans living in Costa Rica. Yeah,
and just very fun, casual, easygoing, like no stress. You know, it's just amazing. Like I'm out of that hustle and bustle, right? I'm out of that hamster wheel. And so I had on my vision board for a year a yoga deck in Costa Rica.
Did you really?
Yeah, and the first place I went to do yoga in Costa Rica, literally a few days after I got here, was a deck. I don't know if it was the same one, but it certainly looked just like that deck. My house, I can walk to yoga from my house.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
That is beautiful. That is a great manifestation story.
Yes.
And I love how you just let it happen. I mean, certainly there's nothing wrong with wanting to specifically manifest a particular house or a particular job or a particular mate or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But it's so much more powerful when you leave more general. I'm open to great things happening. Because that's kind of, I mean, you certainly had you said it yourself, you had no plans of looking for a house when you went to Costa Rica.
Right.
But you were open.
But I wanted an easier life. I wanted a casual life. I didn't want I wanted out of the heat of Florida. I was, 20-something years there, and I loved it. But now that I'm older, I didn't love it so much anymore, right?
Right.
And I wanted out of that hustle and bustle. I just felt like I was in the wrong place, right? And that was my soul telling me, you are in the wrong place. But guess what?
And there's a lot of hustle and bustle in Florida too. I mean, it's not like Florida
it's very busy.
The backwoods now. This is like You know, it's one great big metropolis almost. Yeah.
Yeah. And what you were just saying too about, when you're less specific. So this is one of the things that I coach my clients on. When we're really specific and it has to look a certain way, we're taking that, if you look at it like a fire hose, right? And it's this just stream of abundance that is out there for us in the universe, right? We're kicking that. We're putting a kink in it.
Yeah.
When we get less specific and we know the feelings that we want to have living that life, remember Neville Goddard, the feeling is the secret, right?
That's right. Feeling is the secret.
Yeah. So that's how you manifest. You get in the feeling.
That's where the power comes from. Is the feeling doesn't actually do anything specifically itself. It gives power to the ideas that you already have in mind. It's the combination that really does the trick. Right. But it's like the
fuel for the fire.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I talk about in my program is, you've seen the Abraham Hicks scale of emotions, right?
Oh yeah, the emotional scale.
Right. And so I compare it to like playing on the wrong side of the playground. So when we're constantly on this roller coaster of emotions, we got triggered by the traffic, we got triggered by our partner, we got triggered by a coworker, whatever it is, and we're constantly on this roll of emotions, we're dipping down into the wrong side of the playground. And how long do you want to stay on that wrong side of the playground, right?
Right.
But when you get rid of all the triggers, when you take control of your thoughts, guess what? You can stay on the right side of the playground, and that person can cut you off. Your partner could still be your partner doing whatever it is that triggers you, your coworkers. But now you've built this bubble of energy around you. You don't go to that side of the playground.
Yeah. Very essentially true. What you're really doing there is, I mean, it's not like the triggers went away. It's just that they're not triggering you anymore. They're still there. They're still doing what they do. It's just that you aren't bothered by it. Like, oh, there's another trigger. How interesting. And that's the extent of the whole experience. Whereas before it was like, oh my God, I can't believe he did a different experience. Totally different experience. And leads to totally different results.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's nice to live on the light side.
You notice.
It is. What were you saying, Mindy?
I said you're noticing what you're noticing with your thoughts, right?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. And you're noticing it from a different perspective. You're thinking about something differently. Because when you were thinking about the traffic in terms of, that's one way of thinking about it. Another way of thinking about it is, oh, isn't that interesting? They're entirely different ways of thinking about the exact same thing.
Yes.
The thing hasn't changed. It's still that traffic. It's still
your perspective
crazy.
changed.
But your perspective about it changed. And the way you decide to react to it changed. And the way that you decide to respond changed. And so really the change is within us. The thing itself didn't change.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're the ones.
Yeah. And like I said, we've built that bubble of energy around us.
Talk about why I know a number of people like the idea, the concept of the bubble of energy. Why do you like that one so much?
Because that's what it feels like. It feels like nothing can rock your world. When you get rid of the triggers, right? Really, nothing can rock your world. If it does, it's for a minute because you catch yourself. So we have a formula. Thoughts create emotions. Emotions create action. Action creates results, right? Then your results are the world that you're living. Well, if you can learn to stop it at the thought and choose your thought, then you get to choose your emotion that you experience, right? It creates a new action, which creates a new outcome.
Let's talk about some of the ways that we can change that thought. Because I'll using myself as an example. We're coming up now. Toward the end of this month, we're going to actually be hitting the 10th anniversary of me doing this show, which is going to be kind of a fun milestone to hit. But I'm thinking back to 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it was pretty easy for me to fall into the space of believing, well, I don't have a lot of control over my thoughts. I certainly don't have any control over my emotional response to stuff. Emotions are just what you have certain programs. A bad thing happens, you respond badly. A good thing happens, you respond well. That's just the way emotions work. That was my belief system. So
Mhm.
let's go back to my 10-year ago self and talk to that self. How would you explain to that person how you go about changing your thoughts?
It's a
Good question.
process. It's a process. So I watch a lot of, or I listen to a lot of Joe Dispenza, and like
Mm.
I love his work, right? And one of the things that I realized is we're really reprogramming those neural pathways in our mind, right?
Hmm.
And so the way you do that is through repetition. And so through the repetition of studying, and it really has to be a daily repetition through listening to these um, different, like I have audios that come with my program that were recorded by Mary Morrissey, who's been a thought leader in this for, 40 years or so
Mhm.
in this field. But through that repetition, through the morning study, through changing the conversations that you're around. So when you're around other people who are talking the same language, right? So your partner might not talk the language, and maybe they don't even want to come along for the ride, but that doesn't mean you can't surround yourself with others who are. By listening to shows like this, right?
Mhm.
The
Now, I
more
can tell you by
consistent
doing shows
things
like this, doing the show, it has done it for me. I can only imagine what it's done for the listeners, but absolutely, I totally get that side of it.
Changed my life.
Yeah,
there you go, right?
yeah.
And that's coaching, like coaching this program. That's what it's done for me. Like
Mhm.
what we do is we take the time that it would normally take and we collapse it. Like I said, I used to be a manifester, but it took me a long time. Well, I
Yeah.
was
Hmm.
doing, personal development work here and there, going to this one and that one, but then I'd go home and I'd be me again, right? No matter
Mm.
where I went, I was there, right? It was just like this thing.
It's one of those annoying things.
So
Everywhere I go, there I am. I mean, what is this? Come on.
Can't get
I
away from
know. I
myself.
followed me from my bank account to my career to my relationships, right? It was like everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, when I found this work, that's when I really understood it's just reprogramming the neuro pathways. It's so simple. It's not overnight,
Mm.
but with repetition and consistency, with surrounding yourself by the right people, listening to positive stuff, turning the news off, turning the drama off, you know, playing on the right side of the playground, right?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
In thoughts, deeds, and actions, everything.
And that really is it in a nutshell, because this is it's not a set it and forget it thing. That's the way I think
Mhm.
people kind of approach it. Like, oh well, all I have to do is I'll do some affirmations, right? That'll do it for me.
Right.
And well, it can. How often are you doing them? It really comes down to what's your daily conversation with yourself, with
Mhm.
others. What's your daily experience? Where are you giving your attention? We forget those parts. We skip them. Well, what does that have to do with me manifesting a new house? Yeah, that's the
Mhm.
way we tend to look at it.
Well, they want to jump to the end without doing all the work.
That's
That's
right.
part of the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And I even see that in my coaching clients. Everybody wants the journey to be like this short, but for
Yes.
most
Right.
of us, the journey isn't that short because we've been programmed a certain way. Like I'm
Hmm.
57 years old. It took a minute to get programmed the way that I was programmed, right? Well, it took
Hmm.
a little while to deprogram all that.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah. Some of us, it takes years. It's going to be
Yeah.
different with every person. But you mentioned the journey
So
part. I remember the first time that somebody said to me, "Appreciate the journey." I said, "You got to be kidding me." Why would I want to be? This part isn't the fun part. I want to get to the fun part.
Patience is a virtue.
yes. Well, it's funny. We just one of my groups, like I said, it's a 12-week program, and this one just happened to be all ladies, although I coach men and women. But they had just finished up their 12-week program, had amazing results, and when we went through the, like just what did we get from the program talk, like the last talk that we had on our Zoom. I said, because the main theme was I'm not the person who started this program. And I said, I really believe we've all been hoodwinked into believing that it's reaching our goal. It's not reaching our goal. It's who we become on the way to the goal.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. That's really it. And
Mm-hmm.
not just who we become, but also what life do we choose to live while we're trying to
Yes.
get to the goal.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You may not have control yet over all your circumstances, but you do have control over how are you going to live right now with what you do have.
Exactly. How do you choose what you have powerfully and be grateful for what you do have? Because if you can't be grateful for what you have, there's never going to be enough that will make you grateful.
Yeah, it's not
Do that.
possible, really.
And why would the universe give you more if you don't even want what you have? And you might be driving an old beater car, or maybe living in a house that you're not in love with, or whatever it might be. But if you at least love the fact that you have a bed to sleep in, you love the fact that you have a roof over your head, you love the fact that you have transportation, even if it's a bus, if you love the fact that you've got food and water and air to breathe, and you're just grateful and you live in that, it comes. It's being patient.
Exactly.
To your point about how are you going to be grateful if you can't be grateful now? The way I think about it is the universe's answer is always yes. So if your request right now includes the idea that I don't really feel grateful for where I am right now, the universe is going to say, great, here's some more stuff for you to not be grateful about.
Right.
That's exactly what happens right there.
That's it. So the answer is always yes. The question is, what was the question? What were you asking for? And what were you asking for most consistently? Not what did you ask for when you were writing your journal or putting up your vision board. What were you also asking for as you were going to the bank and then going to your job and dealing with your spouse and dealing with the kids and the neighbor who spilled something on your sidewalk? How were you interacting in those situations? Not just what did you put on your vision board. The vision board, great, yeah, but are you going to work on your vision board all day long? I don't think so. So what are you doing the rest of the day?
Exactly. Who are you being? Like, who are you being today that can live that life tomorrow, right? And you have to be that person today that's living that life. So if you've got a vision that you want to be a millionaire, start behaving like that now. Start behaving like somebody who tithes. You give 10% of everything you make. I don't care if it's $20, give $2. Be that person today. And be in that energy today, right? And be grateful for everything you have.
I think it's probably the biggest mistake we make when it comes to things like becoming a millionaire or becoming in the perfect relationship or getting the perfect job or finding the right home or finding the beautiful car. We don't take the time to ask ourselves, what is that person really like? Well, he's a millionaire. Yeah, okay. But what else is he?
Right.
Right?
Because you got to fill that part in too. If you don't fill that part in, you're limiting yourself to this one little thin layer, and you're hoping that the rest of it will just kind of make itself up. But you're the creator. You're the one who has to make it up.
Spot on. You are the creator, right?
Yeah.
The main question that we ask in this program is, what would I love? So in any circumstance, what would I love? Even if it's a bad circumstance, I always use the analogy. Let's say that you get rear-ended during a traffic accident. Somebody rear-ends you at a stoplight. And instead of getting angry at the person who just rear-ended you, you could be, what would I love? What would I love to come out of this situation? So you get out of the car, you make sure the person who rear-ended you is okay. Just happens to be an 18-year-old girl who's brand new with her driver's license, right? And what you would love is for the parent in you to come out and treat her like you would want to be treated if it was you or one of your children, right?
Right.
And what would you love? You would love for everybody to be okay. Like, that's the only question you ever ask in any situation. What would I love? Because the circumstances are just the circumstances. But you get to.
You're bringing a scene to my mind. Have you seen the later movie, The Secret, Dare to Dream, the sort of fictionalized version of what they talked about in the original Secret? It's been out for about a couple of years now. Check it out. It's
with
really
Katie
good
Holmes.
Yeah, Katie Holmes is the lead character. And I know Alex didn't like the movie a whole lot, and I get that.
Was not a fan.
No, I understand that. But they had a really good scene that illustrates exactly what you're talking about, because she encounters the guy who becomes like the teacher of The Secret in the movie, and also later becomes her love interest. And the way she encounters him is she runs into the back of his truck.
Yep.
So literally what you were just talking about, literally that.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what comes out of it is he ends up saying, well, not a whole lot of damage to my truck. Looks like you got the brunt of it. How about if I help you get your bumper reattached? Now that's
Mhm.
not the normal reaction of somebody who just got hit in a traffic accident.
Right.
But that was the reaction he chose to bring to the situation.
And that's it. When you have that thought, remember, when we learn to control the thought and just ask the question, what would I love? Then we get to change the emotions and we get to change the action, which changes the outcome, which changes the circumstances.
Yes.
Mhm.
And like I said, you don't know. It could be the love of your life, you know?
Which
And
it
would
was
you
in their
want that
case,
person
actually.
seeing you act crazy?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a really great question. What I know Alex wasn't a fan, so I won't ask her to go into this. But I'll tell you, one of the reasons I liked the movie so much was because I liked the way he, the male character, who is the one who kind of teaches everybody how this stuff works. I love the way he basically finds ways to keep serving. And every time
Mhm.
he finds a way to serve, he gets drawn into her family
Mhm.
in ways that nobody really expected. And everybody's asking, well, where did he come from? You know, and there's like all the suspicion about him and so forth.
Right.
And all he was just trying to do is just help people. That was it. But it does lead to him literally becoming part of the family. So that
Mhm.
by the end of the movie, he and she, they're pairing up as a couple, and then you can tell it's going to be a happy ever after kind of situation.
Mhm.
How did they get there? Just because he was there to help people.
Right.
Wow.
That was it.
And when you make that your mission to serve, you can't go wrong if you're just here to serve, right? Like your show, you're here to serve.
Mm-hmm.
True.
I literally, just before we started doing the show today, I was on a call with somebody. I'd been referred by somebody who'd been a guest to this program. It was about how you can turn your show into something that's a very successful business and so forth. And I was really skeptical about it because I love doing the show. I really didn't want to spoil it by turning it into a business. I know other people do. Other people do podcasts. They tie it to a coaching business or whatever. They make lots of money doing that. It's great. I love that for them. I didn't want to do that because I just get so much out of just doing the show itself.
Mhm.
So, but I did the call with him just to find out what he had to offer, and you know, they had an interesting program. It's a definite high ticket program. It's not really one I wanted to be part of, and I told him fine. I was just upfront about why that was, but I appreciated what he was doing. But I really just wanted to keep the purity of enjoying to do the show. And he ended up offering me something that he wasn't planning to offer me. He offered me a way that I could just refer business to him without joining their program at all, and I could get referral fees out of it. Like,
Wow.
oh, okay.
Nice.
Well, sure, yeah, I could do that.
Mhm. Well, threaten me with a good time.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, I mean, you never know what's going to happen when you pursue the goal of just trying to be helpful to people. You have to just kind of be open to, well, someone's going to come. I don't know what. We'll find out. That's the
Mhm.
journey part.
That's the other thing, right? Be curious.
Yeah.
Be
Right.
curious. The universe is handing us opportunities all the time. Like if we took those blinders off for just 10 minutes and realized how many opportunities come at us every single day.
Yeah.
And most of us are going, oh no, no, no. I'm going to have to get out of my comfort zone. No. I'm going to have to get on camera. No. I'm going to have to speak to humans. No.
Or even more precisely, it's I'm too busy dealing with this terrible situation. I mean, I can't be bothered with that right now.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so we're the universe wants us to be abundant, but we're saying no.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And we've all heard the story of the flood and the boat coming to the house to pick the guy up, right? That's what we do every day in our life.
I sent you a boat, a radio report, and a helicopter. What are you doing here? Yeah, exactly. We get such
really
tunnel vision. We get it has to happen this way and only this way, which it's possible to do, but how long are you willing to wait?
exactly right.
I mean, you could be waiting 3 or 4 lifetimes if you really tunnel it down enough, right?
Well, and I did it myself. I was a very successful realtor in Florida, and I had so many opportunities come to me. But like I said, oh, I'm not hireable. Oh, I'm not speaking in front of people. Oh, I'm not doing social media. It's like, and coaching, like it was literally, I was a big no. All my friends were like, oh, you should think about being a life coach. I'm like,
no way, I'm not doing that. No.
I'm not doing that. No. And so funny that I'm sitting here and I'm a life coach, right? But
yeah, right.
I had my blinders on, and it was until I did a program like this, Bob Proctor program. And it was when I did that program that I started to take the blinders off. And it still took a while, right? I was still like, oh, I don't want to learn something new. I'm 56 years old. No. But here I am.
Here you are. Yeah. And happily living in your manifested home in Costa Rica. There's the evidence.
Woo, woo.
It actually does pay off. It actually works when you go outside your comfort zone and try something you hadn't tried before. Which, by the way, is where all the living actually takes place.
True.
Where all what? I'm sorry.
Where all the living takes place outside the comfort zone. There's really no life that happens within a comfort zone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a hard concept.
So what you do when you start saying yes is you unkink that hose.
Yeah, yes takes some courage.
Right.
Takes courage, and it takes a willingness to attain that new perspective we were talking about a few minutes ago. Just look at it a little bit differently. Think about it a little differently from the way that we're gut wrenching. That this is the way I always think about it, so I'm going to think about it this way. Just saying, I'm going to look at it a little bit differently this time. Maybe that person who just cut me off and swore at me, maybe he just got fired. Maybe there's something like that going on. It probably had nothing to do with. Actually, it didn't have anything to do with me. I didn't do anything wrong. He was the one that was driving like a maniac. Maybe I really shouldn't be taking any of it to heart. Maybe all I'm doing is taking on something that wasn't mine in the first place. It's changing perspective.
We let our emotions drag us around like a big dog on a leash that hasn't been trained.
Good analogy. I like that. Yeah, because we've all seen that, right? The person who's being dragged along the path as they're walking the dog, this big old dog, pull them down the sidewalk there. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's most of us with our emotions, and it's just all day long. We're just like, we're on this side of the playground, now we're on this side, now we're on this side, and it's like, our emotions are just, they have us all over the place. But when you get I kind of compare it to a hamster wheel, right? It's a thought loop. And when we get in a thought loop, whatever that loop might be, it could be, well, I'm depressed. My boyfriend broke up with me. And then all we can think about for weeks on end is I'm depressed, right? But what if we just stepped off that thought loop and said, wow, there's 7 billion people in the world. Maybe 50% are men. I'm pretty sure there's another one out there.
Yeah.
In fact, probably a better one than the one who just left me, right?
Most likely.
Oh, there's a stunning thought for you.
Right?
Yeah.
This is not the best it gets. Trust me.
Yeah. But when we step off that thought loop, right, we get to create our reality. And we get to create it from positive thoughts. We get to create it from infinite abundance. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience, right? So why are we not creating from the infinite? Why are we creating from this 3D world that we're walking around in when we have all of that to create from? I mean, look at the background that Walt has. We have all of that to create from.
Yeah,
true.
Universe. It's true. I'm just thinking about one of the common types of themes you see. Alex will be happy to hear I have not been on social media very much. I've been actually.
I know. I've been posting. You haven't been commenting. I'm feeling a little neglected.
Well, That's what text messages are for between friends, just to let
True
you know.
that. True that. You do text me, okay.
Yeah, I always get back to you. You know I
Yep,
will.
that's true. You're right.
But it's true. I have not been on social media a lot lately. However, on those times where I have been there, I'll drop in on a Facebook group of various kinds just to see what's going on out there, and
Hmm.
you'll see lots of posts depending on what kind of group you're in from, like, young women who are looking for their soulmate or their twin flame or something like that. It's got to be this one
Oh
kind of
boy.
person. It has to be. It's only just this one kind of person. That's it. There's nobody else out there who can possibly match that. And I think to myself, do you know how many men there are in the world? Like, are you aware of this? I honestly don't think they are. Because they
No.
really think there's just one, right?
Right.
There's only one. It can only be one possible person. That's it. That's the way they think about it.
Right.
So to Mindy's point from a moment ago, they can't imagine the possibility that there's more than just that one soulmate who's perfect for me.
Hmm.
And I think, really? Wow.
Mhm.
What a mindset to be in.
Yeah,
Talk
it's
about being
closed
stuck.
off and sad.
Yeah, it is. And that's just one kind of person dealing with one kind of issue, but that's one of the ones that came to my mind.
Yeah.
Somebody who just gets so locked in. I gotta find my soulmate. What? There's only one? Really?
Yeah.
Out of the 7 billion people on the planet,
Yeah.
right? It's just got to be that one.
Could
And
there
you
be
know, the thing
three?
is, I've
What's that?
walked in those shoes, right? I've done it.
Oh
I've
yeah.
been there. I've been
Hmm.
that person. Like, oh,
Me too.
mate,
But then your mind gets blown when you find out that soulmates aren't just your life partners, they're also friends and family and lots of different types of soulmates. So it's like, what are you really looking for? Because you're asking the universe, and the universe is sending them to you, just not in the frame or the time that you're looking for. Be
That's right.
patient.
Mhm.
Be patient and open.
Yeah, that's one of the most fascinating things to me. The universe doesn't just answer a request once.
Yeah,
It answers it over and over
every
and
time.
over again until you finally decide,
Hmm.
I'll take this one, you know.
Right.
But until you do that, it'll just keep sending you options. Here's another one. Here's another
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Here's another one. And each time,
Yes.
and you go through that for a while, and the person says, I never meet anybody. Say what?
Well, you know the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing
Same thing over and over. Yep.
Expecting a different result. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel sorry for people sometimes. And then I also remind myself, you know what? That's their path. That's the one
Hmm.
they're on. They've chosen it. It's not like that
Mhm.
it just kind of was forced down their throats. They're picking that one. And there must be a reason. There's something that at some soul level they're figuring this is what I need to do.
Hmm.
So they do.
Mhm.
And it's not up to me to know what it is.
Nope.
As
Not your
much as I
monkey,
want
not your show.
as much as I desperately want
Let's
to know,
call
it's still not up to me.
But see, that's why I do what I do. You know, I felt like I found the Wizard of Oz when I found
Mm.
this work.
Mhm.
Like all of a sudden I woke up and I was in this new world where everything was easy, right? Even my emotions, it's like, wow, like nothing can bump me off my happiness, right? I'm just happy all the time.
Yeah.
And I realized, you know, other people need this. They don't know how to get off of that hamster wheel, right?
Right.
Right.
In fact, they'll
And I
probably complain about the hamster wheel long before they'll actually consider stepping off of it.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, because we're used to it, right?
Right.
It's the comfort
Yeah.
zone. It's very uncomfortable in the comfort zone, but we stay there.
Yes. I actually don't like the term comfort zone. I've said this many times before. I think we should call it the familiar zone. There's nothing
Yes.
comfortable about the so-called comfort zone,
I know, right?
but it's very familiar, and that's why we like it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So why do we call it a comfort zone?
When I was in my comfort zone, I was pretty comfortable. I was laying in bed watching TV. I was very comfortable.
You really want me to go after that one? I can. Are you sure?
I'm gonna let it slide.
Okay, all right. See, that's the problem. We know each other too well. You can't get
That's
away with a whole
true.
lot anymore.
That's true.
It's not like when you first came on the show and you were like a blank slate to me. I didn't know you. I know you now.
Right.
Oh God.
I hear a story that I don't know yet, so I might need to hear about this.
Well, we've been doing the show for what, 4 years now? Is that how long?
Yeah, our anniversary's coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've gotten to know each other pretty well over a 4-year period.
Yeah.
When you do the same show with somebody over and over again, you just get to know them.
Every week, sometimes twice a week, sometimes twice a day. Back in the day.
Yeah, there were a few times there. You were on like every single day, 5 days a week.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, we kind of got to know each other. I went to her wedding. So yeah.
Yep. Good times. Good times.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, tell Mindy about how you and hubby met.
Serendipitously, let me tell you. Okay, so Walt and I were doing an episode, and we had a guest on who what was her specialty?
Oh God, you're asking me.
I don't know. She was some sort of relationship expert, but anyway,
Yeah.
she
I think she was a life coach essentially, but I can't remember exactly its way. Yeah.
But she ended up getting tapped to help create Facebook dating.
Right.
So I was talking to Walt, and we've been talking about this for like the whole year I had been on the show or whatever, about my dating life and dating apps and how they're horrible and there's pee in the dating pool and all this stuff. And and so I was complaining, and she was like, well, check out Facebook dating. I was like, nope, I'm done. And she's like, no, just check it out. Okay. So it launched. It launched like a week later. I signed up. I checked it out. I swiped right. He swiped right, and he never went home.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
She
And
was one of the very first people on Facebook dating to actually have a partnership that worked out. One of the very first ones.
Yep.
That is so cool.
Yep. And it was weird. I was going to say it was weird because he's not from my area. So his mother lives down the street from me. So he was visiting his mother, and my area, my area of people I'm willing to date, I put like maybe 15, 20 miles. And he was from like probably about 40 miles away. And he just happened to be visiting that weekend that we both swiped right. And he came over and never went home. So
that's amazing.
I was just remembering the guest who was on that day. She's a psychologist.
Right. That's what it was. Yep.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. She actually tapped me to do an interview for Facebook dating because
did she really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It never really came to fruit. We did the first part of the interview, but then COVID happened, so they never came to the house with cameras and stuff. So
I haven't been in touch with her for a while, so I gotta find. She's one of these people, Mindy, who's like prolific writer. She's written something like 30 books. Just an amazing number of books, and it's like a new book every 6 months or something like that.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Crazy. She's an amazing person. Yeah.
We're still friends on Facebook.
That's cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were still in touch with her. That's great.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
she's a cool lady. She was actually also one of the contributors to the group book that I put together a few years back. She was one of the authors in that book. Yeah.
Cool. So, I did not know that.
Yeah. So good times. But there's a great story there that really illustrates, because you were in a mindset, kind of like what we were talking about before, right? You were on that hamster wheel that Mindy was talking about.
Yep.
You believed there was nothing that you could do within the world of online dating to change the situation. And you basically, it's like you took a gentle kick to the head before you finally said you'd give it a shot.
Yeah, but also it was me, because in my bio, I was putting, I don't want men who smoke. I don't want this. If you don't like dogs, da 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 da. You know what I mean? Like, I was putting all the things I didn't want. So when I had my Facebook dating profile, I switched it up and I put what I did want. And that was the difference.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. Yeah, we've talked about that before.
Well, and you said yes. When the universe sent the messenger, you said yes.
Exactly.
And we never know where that message is coming from, right?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. But that leads to the question, why do you think you answered yes that time? Because you've been saying no all this time.
I don't know. I was just like, I'm just going to give it one more shot. What could it hurt?
Okay.
She talked a good game. I believed her, and it worked.
She does talk a good game. She's really, she knows
Yeah,
her stuff.
she had me all hyped up. I was like, okay, all right.
Well, with 30 books out, I think she has the right to talk a good game, right? So
oh yeah, oh yeah.
I think I'd listen to her too. So
if there's anybody I'm going to listen to, it's going to be her.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, she has it all together. She's really cool. I love her.
And now we're celebrate us October 22nd is our 1-year wedding anniversary.
That's right. Yeah, happy anniversary coming up. That's
Thank you. Our
fabulous.
dating anniversary. We've been together 3 years next week.
Wow! Congratulations.
Oh yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say we met in September and he proposed by December.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
I haven't asked you in a while. He was planning to open the studio in February or March, and I never asked. How's that worked out?
We're still working on it. We're meeting with the town hall to get all the approvals and all that stuff. So it's in the works.
So it's been dragging along, but you're still on it.
COVID slowed a lot of things down. So
yeah, that's true. Well, there's an example of how things don't work quite the way you want them to, but don't
they
let
work.
it bother you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could easily have gotten knocked off that track.
Oh yeah. We were easily just like, we could have been like, you know what, it's not working out. Well, maybe we should move on to something else. But we both decided this is his dream. We should own our own business. It just makes sense. Like if you have talent, why not share it with the world? And if you can make money at it, even better.
But you are mainly persistent, because that's the story that comes up with all the entrepreneurial guests that I have. That they tried something, it failed. They tried something, it failed. They tried something, it really failed. They fell flat on their face. They lost all the money. They went deep into debt. They tried something else and failed, and then they succeeded.
Right. You just don't give up.
That's it. They just kept getting up.
It's the breakdown. Yeah, it's the breakdowns before the breakthrough, right?
Right.
The universe is going to send us trials. I mean, it's just par for the course. You're going to have trials, right? And it's people who are willing to walk through that get rewarded greatly. No one who succeeds ever goes without failures.
It's true.
Very true.
So it's redefining failure.
It is. I've had guests actually who told me I don't think about them as failures. I think of them as milestones.
Oh, exactly.
Yep.
In fact,
I think of them as badges of honor.
As what?
Badges of honor. It's like getting a badge, right?
Yeah, I like that better.
Yeah, that's good. A badge of honor. That's really good. I remember Will Smith published a selfie video talking about this topic. I think he put it on Instagram or something. And I didn't see it on Instagram, Alex, if you're going to ask. No, I didn't see it there. Somebody passed it along to me. But that's the first question she's going to ask me. You're on Instagram now? You're paying attention?
Right?
No.
You didn't tell me?
But he was talking about exactly this. And he went on for about 5 or 10 minutes. He was driving in his car as he was doing this. And he's just talking as he's driving. And he said something to the effect, there is nobody that he has ever met who was successful who didn't keep failing over and over again first. It's just you never hear about the failures. You only hear about the successes. And I thought it was a really great point that he was making there. Really, really valid. Because we do tend to do that. We tend to think, there's that successful person. They succeeded at X, whatever X is. Wow, what a magical life they have. And we don't even see what happened leading up to the X.
Exactly. They think they just got there like that. Like, that's not how it works.
Yep. Wave the magic wand. There it is.
I love Will Smith. He's so like inspiring. And I'm actually reading his book right now. And chapter 1 is about perspective. And I'm already in.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. I didn't know he had a book. What's the book called?
Will.
Oh, well, of course. I should have expected that.
Yeah.
And it's so perfect because Will is actually one of our mental faculties. So
that's true.
Yeah, right.
I love the name of the book. It's perfect.
Yeah. I love it.
But I think one thing that we tend to do too is we let our failures define who we are.
Yes.
You know, and then we see yourself as a failure rather than seeing yourself as a warrior who just went through this thing and you're still walking and talking and you're not curled up in a ball in the corner. You got through it but we don't necessarily see that in ourselves. Or others can see it in us.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? We hide in the corner because it's like, well, I don't want to fail again, right?
Right.
I'll be seen. So redefining it. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And not letting it define us.
Mm-hmm.
Not letting it define us, and yet that's exactly what we do. We tend to, so many of us will tend to treat the failure as if it were an example of a failure of our personhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
When it isn't. It's just that it didn't work. That's all.
Right.
Thomas Edison and the light bulb, 10,000 tries, right?
He was an expert at it. He made more mistakes than anybody else that I ever heard of.
Yeah, he says that, or he had said that, you know, he didn't make mistakes. He just found 10,000 ways it didn't work.
Not to invent the light bulb, yeah.
So it could be in the marriage, like maybe you've had 3 marriages that just didn't work. But don't let it define your next one, right?
Yeah, don't let the 4th one be a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Take your lessons learned and keep it moving.
Well, that's just it. Make sure you learn from what happened in the
right.
first
Yeah.
You don't want to
make the same mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're marrying the same person over and over again, you want to be paying attention to that. That's an important factor to notice.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I did that for 30 years. I didn't marry them, but I kept going out with the same people over and over and over again until I got the lesson. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm getting off this train. So
not only did I not marry them, they did. Seriously, for 20 years, my longest relationship was 2 weeks.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was one non-relationship after another non-relationship.
There might be commitment issues.
Well, in a sense, there were. I finally learned what it was.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I was able to shake it off without learning what it was. That was very fortunate because basically I just quit having relationships. And then a month later, I met my wife. So I had given up on the whole thing. I let go of all the trash that went with it. And that allowed her to come into my life.
It's always when you're not looking.
When you're not looking. But what I learned after the fact was I was actually talking myself out of the relationships and I didn't know it.
Like what was your wording? Like what were you telling yourself?
It wasn't so much a wording, it was more of a thought feeling, if you will, which was the moment that I saw any woman that I'd never even met before. Maybe I saw her across the room, right? And she looked interesting. The first impression that would go through my mind was, well, she'll never be with me.
Oh, why? Why would you say that?
I didn't have enough self-confidence.
Okay.
And you do that often enough, guess what happens?
You don't have self-confidence. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you don't have self-confidence too, but you believe it and you end up with that kind of experience with women.
Yeah.
Yep, they're not going to be with you. Yep, she's not going to. Yep, she's not going to. Yep, she's not. It worked.
Right.
It worked brilliantly.
Good job, Walt. You did it.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Congratulations.
20 years, right?
So in a sense, it was commitment issues, just not quite the way you meant it. Is all.
Well, that's just it. A lot of times we're not committed to loving ourselves.
Yes.
When we love ourselves.
And if you had asked me at that point, if you had asked me back then, especially in my early 20s, did I love myself? I would have answered yes.
Me too.
Right?
Yeah.
Looking back, I know exactly for sure I lacked tons of confidence. There was tons of self-love. There was a whole huge amount missing. But I didn't feel that way at the time. I didn't realize how much I was sabotaging myself just because of the way I was deciding to look at it. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize I was actually setting my bar too low.
That's a word.
And that to me that's where I think all the big issues really are. I think it's people not truly grasping what kind of life they can really have.
Yes, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it's perspective. You know, Alex said it just a little bit ago with Will's book, you know, perspective. If we could just see how divine we are as humans, you know, if we could just see our divine light that we walk in. Like I said, we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, right?
Right.
if we see that, nothing can stop us. Nothing can hold us back from living the life that we dreamed of.
But we really have to see it. We can't just hypothetically say, "Oh, yeah, that makes sense." No, you really have to see it.
See
You
it, feel
really
it,
have
smell
to
it,
be there,
believe it.
feel it. Yeah, it has to be, because if you aren't there, then you really haven't bought into it. You really haven't adopted it. You really haven't made that your modality, so to speak. And that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. Hey, we're running out of time, and I want to make sure we touch on something. First of all, tell people a little bit more about your Dream Builder program. We touched on it earlier, and then we kind of moved away from it. But talk about that program for a little bit, Mindy.
Okay, great. So the Dream Builder program was put together by Mary Morrissey. She's one of the thought leaders in this area. She has been doing this work since the 1950s. And she developed this program. It's around a 30-year-old, program that she's put out that's helped literally thousands of people all over the world. And yeah, it's amazing. So we work on perspective. We work on our own self-worth, like learning to love ourselves. We spend 2 weeks on forgiveness, like radical forgiveness where you forgive everybody for everything, because that's when the world opens up. And yeah, it's a 12-week program. We meet once a week for coaching. We have once a week question and answer, and then we have a morning study group. So for the entire 90 days, we get together and we study every morning, because it does come with a curriculum and audios and the whole 9 yards. And that's where the juice happens. That's where, remember when I was talking about how we reprogram our neural pathways? It happens in that daily, everyday work. We become partners in believing in each other. That's why I love the group coaching format. The group coaching format allows us to believe in the other person when they can't believe in their self. Yeah, and that's kind of it in a nutshell. I have other programs. I have advanced programs on the laws of the universe. I have on programs on Into Your Genius is all about working with your mental faculties. Yeah, so I've got advanced programs, but we like everybody to start with the Dream Builder program, because you really can create your dream life.
We don't have a lot of time to
whatever
go into. We've been covering a lot here, and I want to make sure we get as much as we can in before the hour is up. But one thing I do want to ask about it, you mentioned it's a 12-week program, so basically 3 months. Is there a thought process that says we need it to be a 12-week program because of X? We want it to be that length for a reason. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, so you start to create the habits, right? So the morning study becomes a habit. Thinking positive becomes a habit. Surrounding yourself with people who are looking for the very same thing that you're looking for becomes a habit. You make lifelong friends. You get coaching from someone who has lived it and done it. So yeah, that's why it's 90 days, because a 30-day program just wouldn't be enough to reprogram neural pathways.
Very good. I love that. Hey, we also have to get a little information from you in terms of contact information. How do people find you? How do they find out about the Dream Builder program, the other programs that you mentioned? What's the best way to reach out to find Mindy?
So the best way, you can reach me on my website, which is just my name, www.mindyleishman.com. Or I would, you could also reach out by text, which is fine, because I will take text messages, which is on my website. And yeah, so all the information is there. But also I can, what I do is a 45-minute Dream Builder call. It's totally free. And what I do is I step people into the year 2025, 3 years from now, and they create their dream life right there with me on the phone, on this phone.
Fun. Yeah, that's fun.
It really is. And so I have a contact form on my website. They can reach out on that contact form to reach me.
Beautiful.
And my name,
that's cool.
Yeah, my name's difficult to spell. It's not the easiest name. So I can send you the link to my website so that
we'll make sure we include the link in the show notes, so that we like to make it easy for listeners whenever we can. So
Yes.
if somebody wants to take advantage, we'll
Link in bio.
There you go. That's it.
There you go.
Good
Yes,
stuff.
I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram.
Okay, good. So lots of ways to reach you. All right.
Mhm.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. By the way, something I want to tell you that I've been making a point to tell people lately because I think it's important, and it's especially true in your case. You, like so many people, do so much reaching out to people, many of whom you'll never see, you'll never meet them. You know, maybe they saw you on this program, maybe they saw something you wrote, they saw you on another podcast, you know, they caught your website, something. They picked up something from you, and you helped them in a way that you didn't know about. And on their behalf, I want to thank you for what you do, because people don't get enough of that kind of feedback. You need to know that the people you're helping that you've never seen, that you'll never see, that you'll never meet, are grateful to you. So on their behalf, thank you for what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that acknowledgement, really. And that's the law of giving and receiving. He gave me a compliment and I received the compliment. So
Yes.
one of the
Always receive. Don't just take it. Receive it.
Receive it. Yes.
It's like the old thing about, you know, you're out for lunch with somebody and the person says, "I'll take the check." You say, "Oh, no, I've got it," because you can't receive the gift of them taking the check.
Yeah.
Receive it. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Exactly. And thank you for what you're all putting out into the world. You're making people smile and you're teaching them about manifestation, and it's wonderful.
We appreciate that. Another daily dose of happy. I'm loving it. This is great.
Period.
Yeah. Thank you guys very much. Thank you to our podcast listeners everywhere. We will see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.